Welcome to Audacity Works, a podcast inspired by and dedicated to the working artist, the creative entrepreneur, and generally, doing the damn thing. This exists on the premise that the world belongs to those who have the audacity to believe that their lives have value. This is for you. Welcome to Audacity Works. I am your host, Rachel Strickland, and this is episode number 171. And happy February to all of you. I don't know about you, but I was older than I'd like to admit when I learned how to spell February. Also raspberry. Anyway, this past weekend we got snowed in a bit and our heat went out. It was out for a little over 24 hours. And I know that in the grand scheme of things, this is not a very big deal. However, I have a legitimate fear of the cold. It's not just that I dislike it, I'm afraid of it. And so you would have thought that I was a pioneer woman braving the elements arm in arm with Davy Crockett. That's how it felt to me, even though I know it's not. The heat is back on thanks to a dude named Stephen Christ, no lie, who came out as an emergency while the snow was still on the ground. The roads were still pretty dangerous, so grateful to him, grateful to Manflesh who found him for us, grateful to be warm again. And as though I needed another reason to be in awe of people who live in Minnesota. Y'all are built different. I have so much respect. I have not really thought much about your state, I have to admit. I don't really sit around thinking about any states, but for obvious reasons, we've been watching y'all lately, and we are impressed. I am impressed. And I realize we're fully 2.5 minutes in. I have not even told you yet what this episode is about. Today, this episode is about tiny ways and little systems that I use to make my life easier. And the reason that I think this is important right now is because we are not designed to be taking in the amount of information that we're taking in right now. So anything supportive, anything that can just take some of that cognitive load off of us, because I know the folks listening to this. There are not thousands of you, but what I do know, because I know many of you personally, is that y'all are caring, empathetic, baller people. And people like that don't want to bury their heads in the sand, or, might want to, but they don't. We don't. And that means that we're going to need more ways, because the human brain was just not designed for social media. And it certainly wasn't designed for social media in the age of the fall of the empire. Like, the empire is going to fall. It's going to crumble underneath its weight. That's good. It should. Goodbye. We will be here to see what that's like. In the meantime, we still need to be able to be humans. It is such a weird thing. Like, all of the movies that have been made about, like, I'm not even going to say the apocalypse, okay? I don't want to be super hyperbolic, but when things are obviously changing in really big ways, movies about times of life like that, they don't tend to show the fact that, like, ordinary people like you and me live through this needing to buy groceries, like, still needing to put gas in the car, needing to pay property taxes, having to go to work. All of this to say, the cognitive space, it is limited. And anything that we can do to make life easier for ourselves as we live through this together, arm in arm, we should be using those tools. To this end, this is what gave me the idea, actually, for today's episode, is that I follow, or I subscribe to the Preamble, which is the Substack of author and Instagram hero Sharon McMahon. McMahon? I don't know how to say your last name. I'm talking to her like she's listening to this. On Instagram, she is Sharon Says So. And I've learned a great deal about how government works from following her over the past couple of years. I'll put a link to her Instagram, which is always awesome. And I learned lots of different things from her. And she's never boring. Like, she always gives it to you straight, really caring, but not cluttered. And also shares, pictures of whales and her golden retriever and stuff like that keeps me coming back. But anyway, she created the Preamble, and she has guest writers come on there, and it's like a daily Substack. I don't pay for it yet, but I really should. I don't pay for any Substacks, but I would pay for this one, and it's just sheer cognitive limited space that I have not done that yet. I am going to put a link to it in the show notes, because there's one in particular, and this is the one that gave me the idea for today, was about discernment, and it is written about doom scrolling, which is almost impossible not to do because human brains were not built for social media during times of great upheaval. But social media, especially in times of upheaval, was exactly built for human brains. When you look down and you realize you have been doom scrolling for 45 minutes and all you wanted was to look up a recipe for black beans, that is on purpose. That is your brain acting exactly the way that it should. And it's not a moral failing on your part, all right? But this article was written in response to that, and that's what I'm going to link in the show notes. And there is this really great line I wanted to quote to you. I told myself I was staying informed, and I was, but I wasn't doing anything with the information. I was just absorbing it over and over. When my daughter's school asked for volunteers, I was too tired. When a neighborhood association meeting came up, I couldn't make myself go. I'd spent so much energy reading and watching that I had nothing left for doing. I was an expert on problems I couldn't solve, but absent from the ones I could. End quote. Boom, that last line. That got me. I was an expert on problems I couldn't solve, but absent from the ones that I could. And that's where I have been internally for the past few days. It's like parsing out how to make my energy be sustainable in the ways that matter. And there goes my heat. Yay! I have heat. Amazing. So here are some ways that I save myself cognitive space so that I can make less choices and save that room for what's really needed. This is part of how I practice discernment in everyday life. One, and this is going to sound probably dumb. I don't care. I have a beautiful witch's almanac. That's not the dumb part. It's like a witch's date book, which is a gift from one of my local coven here, dear Meg. Thank you, Meg. Love you. And every day it tells you, what phase the moon is in, if there's like a Sabbath or something else astrological happening. And if you've been listening for a while, I don't know that much about astrology, and I don't really care. I don't care that much. But something that it does tell you every day is the color of the day. Now, I don't know how they arrived at the color of the day in this witch's almanac for every single calendar day of the year, but they do. And I don't even care how they came upon it, but I use it to help me get dressed. This is literally something that I do that saves me cognitive space. Like, what am I going to wear today? I know some people, that's like a brain cell that you're just born with, and you're good at that. If you've known me in person for a while, you may have noticed fashion isn't something that I'm super gifted at. Like, I want to look good. Of course I do, but I don't really have the skills to do that in ways that are fashionable. And I'm not super interested in learning. It's not something that's really important to me, but I do want to wear clothes. I know I don't feel good if I spend the day in my bathrobe, so getting dressed is some cognitive room I don't find that I have a lot of spoons for. So I use my witch's almanac to tell me what the color of the day is, and then I wear that. Even if I don't have it, like today's color was lavender. I own pretty much nothing that's lavender, but it's just enough information to where it gives me an idea, it informs the choices, and then it's like I'm not really even making choices. The book made them for me. And that is a silly way that really, really does work to save me cognitive energy. If you don't feel that way about clothing or getting dressed and it's like not a drag for you, I would invite you to think about it this way. I would bet that there is something that that seems to come easily to other people that you find to be kind of difficult. Something stupid, something that you have to do every day. It's not something stupid, that's not the right word. Simple. Something that most people would take for granted. We're like, well, this is a really easy thing to do. But for you, it's not. Find a way to shortcut that for yourself. I know some people solve this problem by literally wearing the same thing every day. Manflush doesn't do this on purpose, but he owns like 15 black v-neck t-shirts. And in the summer, that is all he wears. Black v-neck t-shirts and like cargo shorts because he's working outside all the time. Like, I can picture it right now. It could definitely be a Halloween costume. All right, moving on. Here's another tool that I use, because here's one that I know people have a hard time with. I know that you do. And it's feeding yourself. It's eating food. It's how to get the healthy food into your guts with the least amount of work possible. And it's so tricky. It can easily take up basically all of your brain space for the whole day, is just thinking about what you're going to eat and how you're going to prepare it. You can spend your whole life that way. You really can. So find a way to short circuit that for yourself, like a cheat sheet. The thing that I do to make this easier on myself is that I eat the same meal over and over and over again at the same time of day. First one, smoothie. It has 4 ingredients. I never get tired of it. I eat it every day. It is easy. I know exactly what to buy. I don't have to spend mental energy on it. It's just when I go to the store, I'm like, oh yeah, I get that because you use it every fucking day. Frozen berries, baby spinach, chia seeds, protein powder, water. Boom. I don't have to think about it. I already know the macros are fine. Later on, when it's time for second breakfast, me and Manflesh, we eat the same thing every day. Vegetables, eggs, toast. That saves us all those conversations of like, what do you feel like today? I don't know. What do you feel like? How many eggs do you want? No, you just make the same damn thing. So no matter who is cooking, who's less busy that morning, so who's going to do the cooking, you already know what you're going to make because we decided together this is just what we fucking eat. It might not be the most exciting way to feed oneself, but that was not the point. It was never the point to be exciting. It was to get good nutrition into the body in ways that are perfectly, pleasurable. I designed them. But that don't take daily decisions to make. And at night we do have more variety. We usually follow more or less a set schedule. There are more choices involved there just because that is the one time of day that we do want to organize things based on what we feel like. But every single meal based on what you feel like sounds like a lot of choices. That's just too many choices. And for me, that's not going to work. I need the choices to have already been made. I need that cognitive space. I am a cognitive miser. I don't have a lot of extra to go around. This is also, by the way, like what I find the word of the year is really helpful for, now that all the hullabaloo from New Year's is gone, we can look at this perhaps with more objectivity. Like, this is the point of the word of the year, is not to add extra pressure, it's to take pressure away from you. Like, my word of the year is vital this year. So if I'm confronted with a choice and I'm finding that it's difficult to make that choice, I just refer to my word of the year. Is this one vitally important? Does it make me feel alive? If the answer is no to both of those questions, I don't do it. That's the point. That's the point of the word of the year, to make your life easier. Our mental energy is really needed right now. Like, we need it, our families need it, our friends, our communities need it. And there's just not that much of it. I have to be honest. This is what I'm learning. There's not that much cognitive energy going around right now. So if we can delegate some choices that can just be thought about once, or can be given to something like a witch's almanac to tell us what to wear that day, great. There are plenty of places that we cannot delegate and should not delegate our critical thinking. This is my beef with people using ChatGPT for every goddamn thing under the sun. Don't get me wrong. I think it is amazing. It is an amazing tool. But it is a tool. And if it is going to be used, I will not get on a soapbox about this, okay? I don't feel like that's not what this episode is about. I guess that I could make one about that. AI is here to stay. We know that. I think it can be useful when it's used as a tool. I hate it when it's used for art. What the fuck? Okay. Nope. Not going on the soapbox. All right. Moving on. The point of what I was trying to say just then is that I do see more and more people using AI to delegate their critical thinking. That's not what you should be delegating, my friends. So that said, what are the things that are drawing on your cognition harder than you're comfortable with? What are the things that are taking more energy from you and are depleting you? See if you can find ways, get creative, and invent some ways to give yourself shortcuts through those choices. The 3 that I went over today, just to rehash: getting dressed. Don't like doing it. Don't like doing it. Gotta do it. So I delegate that to the witch's almanac. Eating food. Don't always feel like doing it. Gotta do it. Gotta do it all the time, every day for the rest of your life. So I make those decisions up front, and then we just roll with it. And the word of the year, which is just, it's used for making decisions easier, because you spent all that cognitive energy at the beginning of the year as one year flipped into another year, and you sat down and you did all that good soul searching and internal thinking, and you front loaded that work to discern what was going to be most important for you to spend your energy on this year. You already did that work. Now we get to see what happens if we put it into practice. Now, I know probably only, I don't know, 7 of you are even going to read this article that I posted in the show notes. And that's no shade, by the way. But I do think that this is the most helpful sentence out of the whole bunch. So I'm going to quote it here for you. So, how do you build discernment? Start by asking the right questions. Before scrolling, ask yourself, does this help me take action? Am I looking for information, or am I avoiding something? End quote. I'm going to repeat that last bit. Does this help me take action? Am I looking for information, or am I avoiding something? That little sentence has already been so helpful to me for the past 48 hours. And to move on, this is more quotes. None of this will make the news less terrible. Noted. But you can't show up for the people in front of you if you have nothing left to give. And that includes yourself, first and foremost. That's my addendum there. So there you have it. That's what I think is the most powerful part of that article. If you don't feel like reading it, if you do, you know where to find it. Last thing before I let you go, I am looking at the time, is that we have scheduled the next Charleston Artists Salon. If you are local to the Low Country, or if you're just going to be in town on February 15th, that's a Sunday, right? Rachel looks at the calendar. Yeah, it's a Sunday, from 5:15 to 7:30. I did put a Instagram post up about that today, recording this on Monday, February 2nd. So I'm going to tag that in the show notes as well, if you want something to look at. This is not an open mic. Like, you don't have to have something prepared. We just gather, share ideas, say things out loud, put it out there into the world. This is what I'm thinking of making, or what do you think? I need some resources. Who do you know that does this? And it has been amazing. So that's the next one, February 15th. Super local. If you are local and you want to know about this stuff, I'll put a link in the show notes to the local list. It's very small. There's like 24 people on there, and it's just local happenings. So it gets rarely updated, but when I do, it'll go straight to you. My friends, thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening. As always, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that you choose to let me live in your ear for 20 minutes a week. Thank you so much. If you have requests for future episodes, you can find me always on Instagram at Rachel Strickland Creative, or on Patreon at Rachel Strickland Creative. This podcast is powered by Patreon, so extra special velvet shout outs to my patrons. You are incredible. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for standing with me. This and I could not exist without you. Not this way. Until next time, my friends, let us find our discernment for our own fucking sanity. I'm gonna go have myself a lavender day. Maybe you will too. Don't go back to sleep.